Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Subcultural Aesthetics. Subcultural Aesthetics. Now, what am I talking about? See, you get a lot of people caught up in the whole, looks thing, and unfortunately, they think everything is objective, and it's not. It's not. It is not objective, you know? Because a big part of the looks is also cultural considerations and subcultural considerations. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, you know, because understand something. If you really pay attention to people and who's getting sex and who's not, they don't look like that. They all love these guys who get into play, really getting to play in the real world. They don't always look like what people think is the objective that everybody wants. Apparently they don't. If the women having babies by a guy who don't look like that Chad or Tyrone, babies, that says a lot. Multiple babies too, right? Now, here's the thing. The thing about subcultural aesthetics, what is that? It's about a man looking ideal for that particular subculture and the women in that subculture, right? Let me use an example, right? I remember I was doing a relationship seminar at this expo. It was kind of a new agey expo, right? And, I'm in this hotel, I'm in this room, in this hotel lecture room, right? And had all these people, and I was talking about how people, they'll find somebody who's similar, right? And I made a comment. I pointed out a couple in there. They were a goth couple. They were a goth couple. And I said, yeah, they perfect match and stuff. And, everybody laughed. And the couple, they were very good natured about it because they look perfect together. But if you were to say, do they have that classic look? Did the man have that classic look? Or even the woman had that classic? Neither one of them did. Neither one of them did. They look like goth, The guy didn't have that look like he was like some Chad or Tyrone or muscular or anything. But it was perfect for her. And I could tell from their body language how much they were into each other. Oh, let me say that real quick, too, because sometimes people will see some people together and stuff and either think they are together or assume there's something else going on or it's not a real couple or something like that. Always pay attention to body language, always. That tells you everything. When I see two people together, I pay attention to their body language. So anyway, subculturally, that's what those women like. Now, one thing about me, right? I know people used to see me in the car cursing and all of that and, I curse on here. Pay more attention to, if you always look at the thumbnails of these podcasts, I'm sitting in front of a bookcase. I'm more of an academic type of person. And if you take a real close look at some of the books on my bookcase, and I even did a couple videos about the books I get into, some of the books I get into, I'm always studying stuff. One thing I study is subcultures. One thing I pay attention to is subcultures. Even to the point I've had in my mind to actually go get a PhD in some type of sociology or something and focus on subcultures. I'll probably have a paper or something on that. Because when people mate, it's a subcultural thing. Now, on this channel, let me use another example, right? Let me use an example closer to home. Now, the majority of men who follow this channel are black, either African American or I have plenty of continental Africans on here, right? When you look at one thing in the African American community, everybody don't look the same because despite what people think, it's not one large culture. Some people look at African American culture as just one large group. No, there's over 100 subcultures in African America. And then even if you start grouping things together, like 4 Black Americas. I actually wrote a blog on that a few years ago, right? And I was talking about how someone could look good in one culture, one Black America, but don't look as good in another one. Like, for example, you can get some guy who looks like that corporate model type, right? That corporate guy who look like he can model, you know. He might have like that clean shaven face, even a square jaw or something, look like a chocolate white man or something, right? You know, clean shaven, no tats, you know, haircut, conservative haircut and something, right? You know, that would look good to like upper middle to upper class blacks. Indeed, those who are familiar with the black upper class, our kind of people scenario, you know, when you talk about those like the boule and, you know, certain fraternities and everything, no, there's a certain look that they have. It's a certain clean cut look, right? Certain clean cut look, carriage, how they wear their hair and everything, right? Now, say that guy looks good for that one group, right? The women going crazy. Now, if you take that same man within the African American community, now, as I said, there are 4 general black Americas, 4 general ones, right? And other people have written on it. They have different groupings. And now, so that's the upper class black America. But what about the black America that, you know, what about the black America? Oh, before I even get into that, because I know somebody will, I just feels like somebody will ask me, well, what are the 4 you see? Well, there's the upper class. That's like that boule crowd, bougie, you know. It can even like physically look like they racially mixed type of crowd, talented 10th, right? The black bourgeoisie. But then you got the mainstream, you know, look a little, they physically look a little different. You know, more down to earth, maybe not in the same shape or everything. And then you got the underclass, which is the smallest, but unfortunately presented to the world as the class. And that's a whole other conversation. But then you got a group which I call alternative black America. These are the much maligned hoteps. These are like the Hebrew Israelites. These are the numerous black Muslim sects. It's a different look. Pan-African groups, you know, more naturalists, you know. So getting back to the example of that man who, you know, is bougie, you know, clean cut, everything, even got that square jaw, looking like a chocolate white man or something, all right? You put him in that alternative America, they might just look at him like he's funny or weird. Because in the alternative, it's more about having a certain aesthetic, you know. So in that world, it's more about if the dude got locks, they got a beard and stuff, got a certain look to him that looks a little bit more natural or, you know, more in tune with nature. That's what women will go crazy over. You know, because it's like a woman I follow on IG. She had actually listed a couple of them who are more in that alternative black America. They had actually like had some posts where they tagged guys a part of that, and they look totally different from that bougie look, right? It's a very key thing. And if you look at any group, now I use the African American community, but I see the same thing in white America. I've seen the same thing in white America. You know, like among classes and stuff, I can take one look. When you look at like more working class or more, I'll say more underclass white America, they look totally different from like those preppy guys who got all the money. And it's a different thing that women go crazy over, you know? Or, you know, one thing I've seen in white America more like the tattoo community, like heavily like, the body, I mean, seriously, I mean, they got exposed and everything, you know? You might have piercings and stuff, and then you got so many, well, the groups in white America, I mean, it's just totally different. Like, you might have a preppy guy, but then you had that guy who got a white guy with his locks and stuff, but there's a community for that. that finds that attractive. So it's very important. See, is not just biology, and I talk about culture and biology on my Deep Thought channel, but it's not just, that biology is one thing, but it's the culture, because the culture influences what we will see as attractive. It influences it. Like I said, I can look at I can look at somebody's body type, how they dress, how they adorn themselves, and get a very good idea about their social class and a lot of other things, a lot of other clues. And like I said, I actually do think about getting a PhD in it. I might do it one day, just to get an official thing. And then when I write that book about it, it has a bigger impact. So, but it's something to consider. So for the men listening, one of the biggest things you need to think about, which group are you in? Which group are you in? Like, let me shout out BGS real quick, because BGS picked this up from me early. It's highly intelligent. Some people get a little attitude when he's called master teacher, but he's very astute. Very astute. And he had picked that up about me because he said, okay, Rom will have different looks. Okay. That's because just in my background, one thing about me is from the time I was young, I've had to travel among different social classes, different cultures, Like people who know, I told them I, spent the early part of my life in Southeast D.C., which at the time was a rough area. But then if I went over my grandmother's house, that was a totally different area. And then if I hung out with my grandmother's sister's place, she had a beach house, right? Or if I hung out with my uncle, he actually gave me a pony. So it was like different stuff. So it was like on one side you poor, but then on the other side, fairly, I'd say a little bit above comfortable. More headed towards the more upper middle class type of lifestyle. So I learned then how to switch and how to seize things. So it's very important. And that's when you first saw, like in certain areas, you got to have a certain look. You got to have a certain look, a certain aesthetic. And it's bigger than just your mere biology. Indeed, even with the body game, it's a big difference. Because I told you a year ago, I was at a very upper class event. Would have went to more this past year if it wasn't for COVID. Would have went to more. I still got the connections there. And I said I got to dress a certain way. I got to like be clean cut. But then when I've gone to other things that were more in alternative Black America, I can let my hair grow out and everything. So it's a very important thing to understand, because I know what I'm dealing with, and there's always a different look among the people. So anyway, I just wanted to share that and just understand that people think things are objective or just one way. That's only because they just stuck in one place and they don't see the alternatives. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I want y'all to think on all of this. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.